All right, what's up, everyone? I'm here with Jorge of JNT Developers and Elevate Commercial Investment Group. Among other things, George has a lot going on. Really excited to be here, George. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me, man. I'm excited as well.
Yeah, well, I just want to start out with what the reason we were just talking about this before I hit record. The reason that I reached out to collaborate on this because I see that you're cranking out like a ton of good quality content consistently, which not many people or companies in our industry, in the construction industry, are doing. So it's like immediately like, all right, this guy, he's on it, gets it. We're reading a lot of the same books, it seems like. The mindset and the health and wellness, like it all ties together. And for me, I have a deep conviction that that's, I don't want to say the only way because there's exceptions to every rule, but that's the formula for continued sustained success. Can we start there? Why don't we start there by talking about like what you've got going on, what you're doing, and
so I started. I'll start from the beginning. I started with investing in single-family homes. We started doing a lot of fix and flips. I did not have a construction company when I started. It was just the investments, and I wanted to scale that. And at that point, I got burned by two contractors, which should never get burned twice, but it happened.
Burned by contractors, shocker.
Yeah, right. After that second time, I said, that's it. I'm going to do this. I do have an electrical engineering degree, and I worked at UPS in the engineering department after college. And I was pretty much, it wasn't really engineering. I was pretty much a GC for UPS. I worked on building their warehouses and expanding them. I felt I had the skill set, and that's when I started the construction company. Both companies started, kind of taking off side by side, and started taking on more investor clients with the construction company. And then about 3.5 years ago, well, a little bit before that, I started changing our model on the construction side and going more towards commercial clients or multifamily type clients. Not sure how I came across that. I think I just landed a couple, and then I saw the difference, between a homeowner client and then somebody that's just building out a restaurant or whatever it is. And I'm not talking about just roofing here. I'm just saying, in general, construction and roofing. I had already made that change on the construction side, and then on my investments, I started doing the same thing a little bit after. And now, Elevate, my investment firm, focuses on multifamily apartments. We acquire them, 100 plus units, and then JNT comes in and does the construction on them. As far as the roofing division that we have, we barely do any more residential and just focus on commercial and multifamily.
All right, awesome. So I'm sure that keeps you busy, George. I want to dive into the investment part in a little bit, but first, the part about switching from residential to commercial. A lot of the audience listening or watching right now is in that situation where they're doing, cranking through maybe a lot of residential roofs, maybe hundreds or a couple thousand a year, and they want to get more into commercial. What's the reason that you made that transition, and what would you recommend to a residential roofing company who wants to do that to get into that?
We weren't doing thousands of roofs, but we were doing maybe 300, 400 roofs a year, had a large sales team, and then slowly started making that transition over to commercial. And, when I started comparing the profits made on this one commercial deal versus the profits made on all these residential homes, and the headaches and the manpower it took to manage all those residential ones versus that one commercial one, to me, that just it didn't make sense to continue putting so much time and focus towards the residential. We were spending a ton of money on marketing. Somewhere I lost my way. When I started this company over 13, 14 years ago, it was mainly word of mouth. It was a lot of networking and building relationships. And at some point, I kind of went away from that and started spending all this money on leads and building this massive sales team. And then I kind of looked back and I was like, what happened? Why? When I started doing the multifamily investing, so I know you said you want to go back to that, but that business is a lot about relationships and networking. And I think it's when I started doing that again, it kind of hit me like, why haven't we been doing that with the construction and the roofing? And that's when I kind of started changing things, stopped spending so much on the residential roofing leads and started working more on building those relationships and getting the larger commercial multifamily deals.
Okay, cool. So it sounds like you were kind of in grind mode. The residential deals are just coming and doing well with those, but there's a lot of moving parts, for sure. A lot of competition, especially in Texas. So it sounds like you kind of picked your head up one day, like, wait a minute, like what, this is the path that we went down, which is okay, but I really want to go down this path. Was that kind of the mindset around that decision there? Yeah.
I mean, I wanted to, I was spread too thin. And I wanted to focus more on the investments as well as, having the construction company, I don't want to say run itself, but more of working on the company versus working in the grind and the day-to-day aspect of it, which I kept getting pulled back in with the residential roofing. It just made sense to free up some of my time to work on these other entities to go the multifamily commercial route. Okay, cool. So getting pulled back in, working in the business, and I think I can relate to that. When you're stuck working in the business, sometimes it's necessary, especially when you're small and starting out. But as you grow and you have a team, and I know sometimes I'll get really stressed. I'm like, oh man, I worked in the business all day, and I feel like it didn't move anything forward. That can be really, really frustrating if it's day in and day out. We have a lot of clients and a lot of friends in the industry, in the roofing industry, who are like, yeah, I wanted to build those relationships. I want to get into commercial, but I just don't have the time, man. I'm working 16 hours a day. And then you see them on social media and they're doing inspections on roofs. And I'm like, get off the damn roof. If you want to grow your business, you have no business being on the roof. Is that something that, I'm not asking you to agree with me, but is that something that you thought about? At some point when you were growing your roofing company and growing everything, did you consciously make that decision that I have to stop doing these things, or I have to get off the roof, or I have to get out of the truck? Or I did, and I noticed the more I did that, and the more I counted on others and brought in team members, that it gave me more time to work on those larger goals. And so yeah, I did realize it, but it did take me a while. I was stuck in that day-to-day for years. Yeah, but that's what it takes. It takes a conscious decision to say, okay, I don't have more time in the day. I'm never going to get it. So I need to create that time by delegating, hiring, outsourcing, whatever it is, so I can focus on those things that I want to focus on. Yeah, I think a lot of individuals say they don't have the time, and it's more time management. You need to manage the time you do have. It's not that you don't have the time, and you need to decide what's more important and focus on those items. Yep. Get off Facebook and be intentional about your schedule. Don't get distracted. Create boundaries. Don't be accessible. And that's going to create a couple hours a day right there. Yep. So you said building relationships. I get it. Relationship building is huge. I think we first met a couple of years ago, 2-3 years ago, down in Dallas, and kept in touch ever since. So those roofing companies that are looking to say, hey, I want to create those relationships with commercial decision makers and multifamily decision makers. How did you go about that? My way in was the fact that I was also investing in these properties. So, it gave me that angle where I understand it. I get it. You're not trying to spend as much money as possible on your roof. You just want the best system that's going to last you, however long you plan on holding the property. That's kind of the angle I took and how I got into that sector of multifamily. And then as far as the commercial, just building the relationships with the property managers or the brokers, easier said than done, getting a hold of the right individual. But once you do, it really only takes one or two really good relationships. I actually heard one of your podcasts that wasn't too long ago. I can't remember the gentleman's name, but he was talking about where he's only got about 2 clients, and that's like his, main business. Which, yeah, it's true.
Yeah, Zach Blankenship from Digital Roofing was on a couple weeks ago. Yeah, that was pretty eye-opening for sure. Did I see that you have like a monthly meetup or a monthly now webinar or a virtual meetup group or networking group that you run?
Correct. So that was one of the things when we decided we were going to, go all in on the networking and building those relationships. We started hosting a live meetup, which we had to stop once COVID hit, but kind of turned it to webinars now, and we'll go back to live events once we can. Yeah, that helped kind of stay in front of that audience and help them, bring value to them however we can.
Was there, or is there a structure to that, or is it just a bunch of people meeting up, whether it's in person or virtually, or are you presenting some kind of information or something like that, or what does that look like?
Yeah, so we'll pick a topic, a monthly topic of what we're going to go over. One month it might be we're going to go over due diligence, how to properly check a multifamily property before you purchase it, and that's one we've done a couple times. And then pick any topic, and bring in, obviously we know about the topic, and then we can also bring in some different professionals. Like if we want to bring in our attorney to talk about the agreements that you should sign and what that looks like.
Cool. When I first started in 2012 here in New Jersey, one of the things that I did was organize like coffee meetups, and it was like, hey, 7 a.m. Friday morning at this Green Planet coffee shop, show up, coffee's on me, breakfast, whatever, and just, kind of meet up and just kind of exchange ideas. I didn't really know anyone. I was just kind of cold emailing people and messaging people and just kind of got this thing going. And I was just starting out. I didn't have anything to sell. I didn't even know what I was doing really, but like I positioned myself, like I created the table, and I positioned myself as someone worth knowing, and I didn't present anything. But basically just got people interacting. The builder would talk to like the roofing guy, and like, the house flipping guy would talk to, the banker, whatever. And everyone in the construction industry, where they got value out of that meeting. And I was the center of that. And that actually, we still have clients that were from those initial meetings. So 8 years later, and that's really what seeded it. So I would say to anyone, like, if you're trying to get a seat at the table, whether it's realtors or commercial decision makers, insurance agents, whoever it is, see if you can create your own. Like, you created your own meetup. I know other roofing company owners that have like monthly events and things like that. When we're in a normal non-pandemic world, and you create authority like that, you build trust, and you establish yourself as someone worth knowing. And to me, that's like the fast track to building your network. It's not just like, joining someone else's table. It's really taking control over that and, providing value, and then, getting that value in return, of course.
Yeah, no, I mean, for sure, man. Every day I'm thinking about how I can add more value to the audience that I'm trying to reach, whoever that is. We do a lot of tenant build outs for franchises. Lately, that's been one of the things I've been thinking about is, okay, how can I add value to these individuals that are looking to purchase a franchise? Haven't quite figured that out yet, but I've got a couple ideas. Yeah, just bring them value. It's gonna give you credibility, and then you constantly stay in front of them.
So that's like someone's going to purchase like a Jimmy John's or Chick-fil-A or whatever, and then they're going to need some build outs and fit outs and contact you to say, hey, I need this done. Yeah.
I need this Chick-fil-A built, or I need, this used to be a restaurant and I need it to be a salon. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I know a roofing company in Southern California that we used to work with, and they do that. I'll shoot you their website when we're done here. Maybe it's worth checking out. They do a lot of those franchises out there. It seems like they do pretty well. Third generation family business, I think. So that's cool. Can you explain the whole model of Elevate Investment Group, how that works? I mean, obviously, I'm sure it's, there's a lot of moving parts, but just the broad strokes of how that works.
Yeah, no, I definitely can. So, like I said, I started with single family investments. That's a lot simpler, right? You're buying a $100,000, $200,000 house, whatever. You put so much into it, and then you sell it hopefully for a profit. Well, with multifamily, it's a little different because you're buying more of a business when you buy a multifamily, because it's all on the income that you're able to make.
Okay.
So what we do is we target 100 plus units properties, because that allows us to bring in the proper staff, so where we don't have to be so hands-on with the property management. And then we syndicate, or we raise the money needed to. So when it comes to multifamily, is considered commercial lending. When you get into those type of loans, the terms are really good, and they'll lend you, around maybe 80% loan to cost, at least before COVID. Now they've cut back some, but whatever that remaining amount is, let's say it's 20%, and let's make it easy and say we're buying $1 million property. So we need to raise that 200,000, 20% of it. We grab that from different investors. We bring some of it ourselves as well, and then we close on the property and we add value to the property. We whether it's we got to fix the property management, or we got to upgrade the units and charge more per month. Anything you can do to increase the income coming in is going to accelerate the price or bring up the value of the property.
So you're looking to increase rental rates and or occupancy rate. I assume those would be two objectives.
Occupancy, raise rents, lower expenses will also do the trick. You can add different income, if there's covered parking, if there's no covered parking and you think the residents in that area will pay extra for covered parking, you can add that. And you take the cap rate in that area, it depends what area you're in, plus the income that you've added, or divided by the income you've added, and that will give you the value you just added to the property.
Fantastic. And are you holding these properties, or are you then flipping them, or?
It depends. We have some that we plan on holding for a while, and then we have others that the plan is to get out more in 3 to 5 years. A lot of it is dependent on the market, where we are exactly in the real estate cycle, and whatever's best for our investors as far as their returns and what their goals are as well.
Okay, gotcha. So some investors might be more looking for cash flow, where others might be looking for a quick hit ROI type thing.
Yeah, you nailed it. Some just want the cash flow. Some just want really high returns and don't really care about the cash flow. Some want it right back, and they're in growth mode more than just having a good cash flow. So it just depends.
Okay, gotcha. And I usually travel to Dallas at least quarterly. I haven't been in a few months due to the pandemic that we're currently in, but how's the market in Texas and in DFW? Pretty strong, or?
It's pretty strong, man. I mean, this is an amazing economy here in DFW. It's so many good things going on. Obviously it's hard to say that with the pandemic, but I mean, with that aside, it's crazy. I mean, there's still news about more corporate companies coming to DFW, and so it's a strong market. I don't see it going anywhere. Texas overall is pretty good.
Yeah, I mean, every time I go to Dallas, it's like every few months, it's wow, there's another building, there's another something going on, and I usually stay in Plano area by Legacy, and it's just
going on over there.
Yeah, it's crazy. And my business partner Tim just got back from Austin last night, and he was like, Austin is just blowing up. It's nuts. So good position to be in there. Sounds like a pretty good business model. What's your goal? Are you looking to take on, more properties, grow that business? What does that look like?
Yeah, no, we're definitely looking to grow. We're currently We own 1,720 units, which means, apartment doors altogether. Our goal is to get to 10,000 as soon as possible. We're trying to hit it by the end of next year. And then we're also going to start doing some more ground up, like new development projects.
Oh, cool. Now, the point of this this content here is not to, solicit funds or anything like that, but if people are interested in potentially investing, is there a place where they can go and kind of check that out?
Yeah, the easiest thing is if they go to my website, elevatecig.com. We've got a bunch of content on there. We've got a free ebook on the homepage on all about investing in multifamily. So, for somebody that's not looking to get on the active side, it's a good tool to an alternative to putting your money in a 401 or stock market, which we can see how crazy that can be, and have some passive returns. When I say we get these investors into our deals, they're passive. They're literally just deploying their funds, and we're managing and handling the rest of it.
Awesome. Cool. Speaking of books, ebooks and books, you read a lot. I see you've got a reading list on that website. Can you tell us about the role that books play in your life and your business, and maybe even in your team as well?
Yeah, no, man, it's massive. I think you said this, I can't even remember if it was before we started or after we started, but you mentioned how having the right mindset is important. I couldn't agree with you more. Books really help me with that, as well as you also mentioned that success leaves trails, in a sense. Like, I read a lot about other successful individuals that have created a ton of wealth for themselves, and every single one reads a lot of books, not just a little bit. They read a lot of books. So that's got to tell you something. I think you always got to be willing to learn and not think you know it all. So yeah, I mean, it plays from personal development and business. Books are a huge part of my success.
Awesome. I see you've got one of my favorite business books in the background there, Traction. Are you guys actually implementing the entrepreneurial operating system?
We are currently working on it, yes.
Same here. It's a big project.
It is, man. It is. Yeah, I've had my staff read the book, a couple of them. Actually, What the Heck is EOS, I think, is another one of them.
Oh, okay.
So I'm probably going to get that one next. But yeah, my goal is by the end of this year to be fully integrated into the EOS system.
Nice. Yeah, we integrated, I think it was back in 2017 with our team. And as we've evolved, we got away from it, honestly. And it takes work, it takes planning, it takes carving out time, but it's a fantastic resource. Very, very dense, but fantastic resource. I know a lot of big companies in the commercial construction industry that swear by it, like as their Bible. So, all right, so books, yeah, huge. I go through phases where my Amazon wish list is like a mile long. And I go through phases where I'm like, oh, I got to read this. And there's like a bunch on my nightstand. Recently, the past few months, I've been reading and studying certain books, mostly around habits and high performance habits and daily habits and weekly planning and really optimizing my weeks and days. So I've been like reading and then rereading and taking notes and implementing. So this year I haven't read as many books, but the ones that I have read, I'm taking time to implement, because it's like, yeah, you can read a book and kind of get some great ideas and feel great and feel productive, but if you don't actually implement, then it's just kind of, it's a feel good thing. It's not going to move any your business or your life forward, right?
I agree with you. I do think mindset wise, maybe just listening to the book could help sometimes, but when you're actually trying to implement and take action on some of the items in the book, usually what I do is I listen to it. If I really like the message and I want to implement some of the stuff, I'll get the hardcover and I'll do what you're saying. I'll start highlighting things in there. I'll start taking action.
Cool. Yeah, I'm a big fan of getting the hardcover books for that purpose, like having or paperback, either way. But the highlights where you can just pick it up at any point and just, look at a page and, reference something, where to me on like an audiobook it's hard to do that. A Kindle, it's okay, you can highlight, but it's just not the same to me. So what else? I mean, we've talked business, we talked books. I know that you've got a family, 3 young daughters, right? And it seems like you and your wife you're healthy and you work out and all that. What role does all that play? Like, how do you balance family and fitness and health and wellness and all that good stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I struggled with that when we first started growing our family. I'm naturally a workaholic, so I've definitely had to learn how to turn off the switch. And when I'm with my children, I shut it all off. I'm not on my phone. I'm not, I'm there, I'm present, I'm giving it my all. And I think that's pretty important. And then, I make sure not to miss anything that any important events for the children. And one of my goals is to start coaching some of their sport teams. It all goes back to time management, right? If you don't manage your time, then yes, the day can easily just take over, and you can easily say, I don't have time. I don't have time to go coach, the soccer team or whatever. It's not about the time. It's about what's your priority,
Yeah, exactly. I'm in the same exact boat. Our son's 8, and he's involved in a lot of sports, and he's always asking me to coach. And I'm like, I don't want to coach until I can be committed to that. I don't want to be like half-assing it and show up, once out of every 3 practices. So I will get there at some point and make the time for it, create the time for it. But I think that's so key, to have those boundaries and understand where you're wasting time, audit your time, see what you're spending time on, see what you're wasting time on. Again, get off social media, stop consuming so much and produce. That's a good heuristic that I have. Do you have any kind of hard boundaries? Like, I know some people after 7:00 at night, I put my phone in the drawer, or I don't answer calls at night or on Sundays, or do you have any of those kind of personal rules that you try to operate by?
Not yet, but I think I'm going to start with the cell phone. I think I'm going to start cutting it off at a certain time at night. And for the most part, Sundays and Saturdays, I'm pretty limited. My team already knows that, so it's not like if you call me, I'll probably pick up, but I don't get a lot of calls. So
I like that. Who answers the phone?
Who answers the phone? Like the company phone?
Yeah, I mean, you have to have someone that's taking those calls.
No, just voicemail. I mean,
you don't have to answer every call. That's what I wanted to dig into. Yeah, I mean, I am. People might think I'm flaky because I don't answer calls unless they're scheduled. But that's we're a small company, and that's the way we have to operate. And I don't respond to anything on the weekends. And you have to create those boundaries. Otherwise, people will learn that you're accessible 24/7. And you see people complaining online, on Facebook, I get calls Sunday, Saturday, 20, all hours of the night. Well, why do you allow that? You're getting those calls because you allow that to happen. I can go on and on forever, but it's about it's about what you tolerate, right? It's leadership is not what you preach, it's what you tolerate. So if you're going to tolerate that, then it's just going to happen. But you got to draw those hard boundaries, and that's going to enable you to to be healthier, to work out, to get more sleep, to think, operate more clearly, not survive on Red Bull and whatever else. Because we've all been there. I've been there, and it's not. I
used to tell me, I don't have time to work out. I mean, now I just every morning, that's what I'm doing. It doesn't matter what I've got going on and how stressed out I might be.
Yeah, me too. I've been in those phases where early on in business where I was like, all right, this is next 2 months is kind of grind mode. I don't care. I'll just kind of get fat and sedentary for a while. But it's not you think you're being productive, but it's totally not. So yeah, I'm a big fan of the morning workout as well. I have to, or else my day just sucks.
Yeah, the day goes so much better when you work out. Yeah.
Absolutely. Cool. Anything else you want to cover that we didn't touch on?
Focusing on what you want to accomplish and kind of eliminating the noise. I think that's a huge issue right now with social media and everything else that's going on. Like, the news, I don't watch the news. When this pandemic happened, I started watching a little bit more, but it took something extreme for me to start watching the news a little more. Just be efficient with your time, and found that's the way to get there, wherever you really want to go, and cancel out the rest.
Yeah. Say no to things. I guess as you've grown from originally kind of flipping to then contracting, then kind of back into the investment, I assume there are things that you had to say no to, right? A lot of things.
Yeah. I mean, I stopped investing in single family altogether when I decided I wanted to do multifamily. Tried doing both at first, but it was too much. It was spread too thin and wasn't giving my all to either one. So
yeah, we go through that too. Actually, we just had a conversation this morning about that. My business partner Tim and I. There's things that we can potentially make money with and provide a good service to our industry with, but we look at like, okay, what's the upside there? What's the value that we can provide? What does it bring us in terms of building our brand, building our company, making money? And then what's the potential distraction, and like what does that look like? So we made a decision actually just a couple hours ago to not pursue this one opportunity that we had, because it's like, yeah, we can make some money and we could definitely we could service these clients that need this help, but if we do that, then we're not really servicing our core clients and our core service, and we're distracting ourselves, and we're gonna slow down our growth, and we're just going to cause a lot more headaches. So I think that's important for everyone listening or watching. It's like, we're all going to have opportunities, but you have to have that decision-making criteria that you can evaluate different opportunities, and your default answer should be no. Like, something comes to you, you're like, it should be no. And then if it really, really makes sense, do the work, work the numbers, look at it, do the SWOT analysis, whatever you want to do. If it makes sense, then go for it. But like as a framework for decision making, I try to start off with no, because I'm focused. So
it's huge. I mean, in the beginning when I started these companies, I would take on more than I probably should have, and doing all types of different construction projects, and pick what you're passionate about, and make that your main focus.
I agree 100%. If it's what you're passionate about, what you can deliver effectively, efficiently, you're going to be able to provide a whole lot more value to your customers than if you're just the yes man. Like, okay, I'm doing a roof. Can you also do my fence? And can you also paint my whatever? Like, a lot of people will say yes, because like, oh, I want to be the nice guy, and I want to be a trusted advisor to my clients. And that's my nature. I want to be the nice guy and help out. But you got to realize, like, when you're not serving the customer, you're doing a disservice, because you're not great at everything. So you're going to kind of do an okay job at some of those other things. You're better off just saying, no, we don't do that, but I can refer you to someone that I know that can do it really well. And that way, everyone, it's a win-win-win. So yeah, that's another topic for a whole other podcast. So we actually have that in the can. We got to get that out soon too, about focusing your services. So I can tell you're busy. I know you've got a lot going on. And I really appreciate your time and sharing some of your insights here. I think it's going to be really valuable for people who want to, get into commercial, get into multifamily, maybe stop doing residential, or just, start working on something that they're really passionate about, and kind of get some pointers on how to go about that. So appreciate you sharing those insights.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
So where's as kind of parting shots and closing out, where's the best way to find you?
Like I mentioned earlier, as far as the investments would be elevatecig.com. And then as far as the construction, you can check out jntdevelopers.com. And we're also rebranding a little bit to JNT Construction, or jntconstruct.com. And they can also shoot me an email if they like at either one of those domains. And my first name is George, or Jorge. It's spelled Jorge.
All right. Fantastic. Thanks again. I look forward to talking with you soon.
Okay. Same here, man. Take care.